contributions to promoting peace, African culture and development, youth and sports development, and advancing Africa's agenda globally. It is also a recognition of his critical role in the infrastructural and socio-economic development of his country as well as his people-friendly policies. He has continued to advocate for peace and free and fair elections in the ECOWAS sub-region, and this was demonstrated by a show of statesmanship and iconic posturing by accepting electoral loss and congratulating the winner. While he arguably had options as a sitting president, he chose the path of honor, peace, and the defense of democracy. His emergence reaffirms our position that he has remained one of the continent's leading light, as he had continued to demonstrate great faith in the African project, promoting African dignity and helping to change the negative narratives about the continent.
Before we could become journalists today, we are citizens. If there is no way that our country is safe, we cannot practice in our respective professions. When we are at war, pastors will not be respected to go to church to preach. When we are at war, medical doctors will not be able to go to hospitals except on a coercion or sanitary condition. When we are at war, lawyers will not be able to go to court to practice. That's why when you see these things happening, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are working on a profession, you got to step down and protect your country so that that country will provide an avenue for you to be the kind of person that you want to be. And that's where we are now. What happened on yesterday was wrong. It's still wrong. And no matter what it is wrong. We are seeing things happening in this country and people are now seeing it as being right because their SAR is there. And these are things that we got to be stand up. To be a patriot, you have to stand first on the side of the law because the politicians will go away. The regime will pass away, but your country will stay. The law will stay. Your patriotism vow will continue to stay on. And these are things that we got to stand up for. It doesn't matter how people feel, what kind of side you want to be on. We just got to speak to the truth, and that is very much important.
I see in the next few months a noisy country, a very noisy country, rowdy country, a heavily divided country, a very tough economy, a sense of elitism by those who are coming at the hem of authority. The coming in of the Unity Party is going to multiply the economic woes, the economic conundrum, the economic quagmire, the suffering of the Liberian people is going to multiply. We are not prophets of doom, but the reality will come.
We give God a glory for the difference of the rescue mission to rescue this country from the hands of the outgoing weird regime and his gang. We look forward to a very prospective, positive 2024.
The judge ascribed unto himself an authority that he doesn't have. When specific provisions of the Constitution are raised as subject matter of discussion in the trial, a court of limited jurisdiction, specifically a trial court, does not have the authority to interpret the Constitution. That authority is ascribed to the full bench of the Honorable Supreme Court. So today, the judge had indeed agreed that the former officials of government are immune from any criminal prosecution or judicial inquiry for acts committed or acts carried out while serving as members and statutory members of the National Security Council and principal advisors and agents of the presidency. That immunity of the president that extends to the advisors of the president and the agent, that immunity can never be subjected to judicial review in a court of law. The courts shall refrain from conducting inquiry on the basis that any attempt will compromise national security. In fact, it's on the other way around.
Road rehabilitation and infrastructure. The key target for the government deliverable for the first 100 days was the reconditioning of roads to ensure that they are pliable to create access and boost economic activities.
I'm saying this to the president of Liberia and his gang. When you behave as a gangster, you are a gang. I am deliberately saying it.
It's very divisive. If I call the senator board, the senator call us who support Joe, we are gangs. You should be happy that I call him a board. Legislatively, he's a board. Legislatively, he's a board.
I'm saying this to the president of Liberia and his gang. When you behave as a gangster, you are a gang. I am deliberately saying it.
It's very divisive. If I call the senator board, the senator also support Joe, we are gangs. You should be happy that I'm calling a board. Legislatively, he's a board. Legislatively, he's a board.
I'm saying this to the president of Liberia and his gang. When you behave as a gangster, you are a gang. I am deliberately saying it.
It's very divisive. If I call the senator board, the senator call us who support Joe, we are gangs. You should be happy that I'm calling a board. Legislatively, he's a board. Legislatively, he's a board.
Senator Darius Delo is living right in Monrovia, right in Maserado. Why are we giving him 10,000 to go to a constituency? Are we seriously? 10,000 to say go to your constituency, go to Lawrence. She also lives in Maserado, even though she represents Bassa. But when you go to the Bassa people, that we don't sort of get you money to go there. We sort of get you 10,000 to go there. When teachers, public school teachers are making less than 150, when nurses are making less than 150, when security personnel in the police, in the army making less than 150, we sort of be giving you 10,000 to go visit the people in Bassa who voted for you. They have no medicine. You heard Darius Delo. Which kind of light are you talking about? The LED light or the jack-o'-lantern light? So people just go to the legislature to seek their personal interests, while vast majority of the people suffer. This has been happening for 177 years. When will our people break away from poverty? All of us should start question. But we've been poor for 177 years, even though we have abundant natural resources. But when will we break away? You have a legislature. For example, we expose these people. You know, there are many reasons, too many mistakes. And the mistakes can be piling up. Then you be telling all your exercise patient, your weight. Yeah, we will wait, but we have to check these mistakes.
It is appalling. That is the reason I've been in a compendious, laconic lacuna, not a recapitulation. But let me tell you this, that it is Leka and Pulchritudinous that in a Legotla, in an Imbizo, flagitious and enervating lematas were excogitatedly ruminate how the recidivistical politicals move from budget disappearance to budget doctoration. Now we are faced with a debilitating, exasperating thing with a financial lobotomization. But I pray that this will not ignite a clamorous remonstration. Now, come to think of it, how dare they deplete the citizens of their obstreperous and vociferous modus vivendi? Enough of this vilification and solipsism. This is execrably pugnacious, pestilential, and attenuating. Imagine the imbibition of the political rodomontades, which has kept us in an abject ululation. Why? This is sardonic, opprobrious, malevolent, contumelious, erroneous, lugubrious, and exasperating. What a political baloney. What a political ballyhoo. What a political bunkum, balderdash, and hogwash. At this point, I will borrow the words of the great sesquipedalian logomanian, that it is crystal clear, like the biblical mene teke Euphasine, that this administration has no blueprint on socio-economic matters. But I will advise you to tell Mr. President that following his antecedent and pedigree, we know him, he can do better. Tell him to do better. But at this point, we will not koto in their poho. Today, what we get in return, what we get in appreciation is the colossal, gargantua, high cost of living. What an opprobrium, what an odium, what an ignominious memento. That even at the barbituration of the so much acclimatized by a scrupulous, fastidious, puritanical, boisterous, energetic, and a routine to thing, but today for party affiliation, sentiments, for political somnambulism and malocclusion, he has chosen to remain close-mouthed, reticent, taciturn, uncommunicative, and unforthcoming, meaning he has kowtowed in their poho. That is what you get when the hobo, pejoratively hobnobs with the hobgoblin, have been bamboozled, razzle-dazzled, razzmatazz politically where I said he was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is a way of saying the president was fantastic. But his political enemies said he was suffering from what I describe as new mono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. It's a word that is supposed to be called silicosis, meaning a lung disease. But in search for the longest word in the dictionary, they pep it up to become a 45-letter word, which is new mono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Before we could become journalists today, we are citizens. If there is no way that our country is safe, we cannot practice in our respective professions. When we are at war, pastors will not be respected to go to church to preach. When we are at war, medical doctors will not be able to go to hospitals except on a coercion or sanitary condition. When we are at war, lawyers will not be able to go to court to practice. That's why when you see these things happening, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are working a profession, you got to step down and protect your country so that that country will provide an avenue for you to be the kind of person that you want to be. And that's where we are now. What happened on yesterday was wrong. It's still wrong. And no matter what it is wrong. We are seeing things happening in this country, and people are now seeing it as being right because the Asa is there. And these are things that we got to be stand up. To be a patriot, you have to stand first on the side of the law, because the politicians will go away. The country will stay. The law. And these are things that we got to stand up for. It doesn't matter how people feel, what kind of side you want to be on. We just got to speak to the truth, and that is very much important.
His Excellency, George Weah, President of Liberia. Our board noted that His Excellency's victory as the African Political Leader of the Year 2023 is a testament to his contributions to promoting peace, African culture and development, youth and sports development, and advancing Africa's agenda globally. It is also a recognition of his critical role in the infrastructural and socio-economic development of his country, as well as his people-friendly policies. He has continued to advocate for peace and free and fair elections in the ECOWAS sub-region, and this was demonstrated by a show of statesmanship and iconic posturing by accepting electoral loss and congratulating the winner. While he arguably had options as a sitting president, he chose the path of honor, peace, and the defense of democracy. His emergence reaffirms our position that he has remained one of the continent's leading light, as he had continued to demonstrate great faith in the African project, promoting African dignity and helping to change the negative narratives about the continent.
We are grateful. We must acknowledge God first. The Bible says, in everything, acknowledge the Lord. And when you do, he will acknowledge your path. He will acknowledge your path. He will then direct you. He will protect you against the evil forces. He will lead you through the valley of the shadow of death. And he will prepare a table for you, of you, in the presence of your enemy. But when he isn't acknowledged, he can do that. Acknowledgement means you recognize God in his almighty self, and you put all that you are into all that he is. So we acknowledge God. We are grateful that he kept watch over us, and he stay keeping watch over us, and he is providing and protecting. He's God. He's God in himself, of himself, by himself, for himself, and our benefit. What a glorious God he is. We are grateful. We are giving out 10,000 and 5,000. You did well yesterday. You can do it today. Start playing as usual. Go ahead of me. Dial *79 and *24#. Play with $200 Liberian dollars or $1.50 US, and then your 5,000 is yours, and 10,000 also. We will also be appreciating our regular or royalty, whatever the description players. When you play well, frequent players. When you play well, you will always play. Frequent players are players who the coach will always count on, and the coach will always motivate them to play the more because of their substance and their worth. So that will also happen. So start playing, hit the jackpot, gold for 10,000 and 5,000 Liberian dollars. You'll get 1,000, and that is good to start a startup. And then you're going to move from 1,000, then you'll get 10,000 and 5,000. So that's 15, that's 16,000 Liberian dollars. Convert that to Liberian dollars, you got so much money to deal with in this dire economy, this terrible economy of Nebuchadnezzar. So you need to do that. Bapin Paul Lee, you are on from Johnsonville. Matthew Cholople, you are on. You like to listen to my man? Yeah, my guys are on every Friday. Matthew Cholople live. He said this guy is the best educated guy. He goes further to say, please inbox me. That guy recorded the only book there. Yeah, my man Ray is in the studio with me. He asked me whether that real English is best speaking. That real English, I told you, all these words are in the dictionary. That a better profession. That's what they live by. That's why they get it. They're thousands of dollars from. They just devote the time to looking up those words, those descriptive words from the dictionary, and they put them together to send us the idea. From by Yen, you are on. James Lieber, you are on from West Point. Tina Cooper from Denver, Colorado. Asata Miller from Red Light. David Willem from Colorado, the United States. Musa A. Sharif, Congo Town. John Kofole from where your area, Gosson, that's Gosson, Abel, SKD Boulevard, David Williams. Okay. Yes, I got to do other things. So, yeah, time is of the essence. Yes, we got just two things to talk. Hey, is it mean by me live? Yeah, LIB. Nathan Blair, Barcelona and Spain. It's transfer window. FC Barcelona is doing the best it can to get the player it needs. Henry Dubon, you are on from North Carolina, the United States of America. That's Edwin Quengba from Ted District, Bombing County. Yes, you are on from Bombing County. All of you great people, time is of the essence. Just can run through all of the names because we've got something of vital importance to talk. I can see now why, but it is not really something that is going to surprise you. That's what they all about. That's what the president is all about. That's what his ministers are all about. And when you hear them say what they say. In the meantime, let's start with the United States of America, the Department of Homeland, or yes, Homeland Security, eligible on $1,000 United States dollars as travel stipend and assistance to voluntarily return to their country of origin or home country. The United States government said the program, part of a broader effort to reduce illegal immigration and remove costs, offers a legal, orderly way to depart the United States through the CBP One app. So they are giving out to help 1,000 so to leave the country, undocumented migrants. They aren't captured in the system, undocumented. So they are slow people, just like you see our country, the undocumented individuals, the country pie is just vulnerable, worse. Let's go, let's go. So ancient fled freeway. The people were caught unaware, according to some of them we spoke to, that they saw sheriff from the court together with some police people and others there to ensure that they are removed, and they advanced so that they were taken unaware. They move on them, and against that, they set up roadblock. They resisted. They came out in their hundreds. Row. They created roadblock. It wasn't easy until the police came in, the United Nations, the Liberia National Police. Yeah, they came in and put the situation under control. But it was a tense situation this morning in the battery factory area. It was very, very tense this morning. They show their bravery. They show they gathered as shields or shield, what they call human shield. They release their bodies to the police and say, if you guys can open your guns and shoot us, kill us, our Bwaka will bear everything. But this is wrong. We can go this way. This is not what you people promised us. What we were told, we see something different. So it wasn't easy in the battery factory area. Yeah, Matilda Stevens. Yes. Okay. Okay, Matilda. Yes. I am. Yes. And you know, right now, Matilda in Liberia is not easy. Everything that kind of with everything. But if it is okay, Matilda, you please let me know. Then I can notify the technician so he will come in and do it. In the meantime, if I am sounding, if I am not breaking, as you have noticed, then you please let me know. If I am still breaking, then the technician will come in to do it. But let's try it. I beg you, please. Matilda, if I am still breaking, as you have noticed, very good. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are broadcasting together. Yeah, we are broadcasting together. Okay, thank you. Matilda, first she said I was breaking, but now it's okay. If we're dealing with it's also wild and not easy. The little rain that fall, it's not easy, my dear. When it rains a little in Liberia, everything just died off in this country. Last night, AB had a difficult time. You people could not. From where I was at home following the show, I was only able to follow by radio. The internet, the same with nothing. I could see nothing. It was so bad off. There where we are in this country, they said we are built, or we are put rocks or BB racks on the internet cable. That's the reason. Then they came back, they said everything was okay. Everything is in perfect shape, or was in perfect shape. That's what they said. Now, everybody is complaining. The internet is bad off. Sorry, but this is the reality. We can't hide it. We have to stop being sycophantic in our country. Look at people, look at institutions, and tell them what you are experiencing. Then to be pretending. Lone Star is bad off. Lone Star has been over the days. Salcom has been bad off over the days. And for me, I know that it is the normal, because whenever it rains a little, not even heavy, the internet bad off. You can get nothing good, nothing. That's how it is in Liberia. Yeah, that's how it is. Lone Star, bad off. Second, bad off. You just get out. Try get in touch with some people. They will tell you that they're experiencing this, they're experiencing that, and it's so bad off. So that's what unfolded at Patrick Factory today. It wasn't easy. Tension flare up. The government of Joseph Yeman Boakai. I've told you people, Abiy has told you people, Israel has said it. I do not know how you want us to say. But let me repeat. Joseph Yeman Boakai has a grudge for George Weah. And that grudge runs through all of Unity Party officials. It is seen by their action, their words, their association. They will go to the meeting, they will discuss George Weah. They will take to their platform at the Ministry of Information and say, George Weah is this, George Weah is that. Liberia isn't this because George Weah did it this way. Liberia can achieve this because George Weah took this. Liberia is far from progress because of Weah. All those things you hear them say, yeah, all the ministers, everything about this country, they put it on a Weah, on Weah. When they started, from the onset, Boakai said that he was initiating an audit. Boakai knows very well how this country is bad off. And Boakai knows very well that he's part of the problem. Boakai knows that from Erling's regime, it was never rosy. He knows that they did some things that affected this country. But because he is the president, he comes to say he's auditing because the past government did X, Y, Z. He constituted the audit team. They told GAC to come out with something as quickly as possible. GAC only went to those things that Boakai and his people wanted, quote unquote, audit reports, and it was what they were putting out. Things about the government, this government that is so damning, GAC will cover up those and went to the ones on the past administration and even doctor some of the other reports to say that these are what happened in Weah's government. Weah damaged this country. Boakai went further. All of us are aware of the assets recovery team. The assets recovery team was and still about one person, George Weah. Boakai target had never been to develop this country, Boakai target had been George Weah, the Grush. Any and everything you see Unity Party people doing, they have one person in mind who is George Weah. Their target is George Weah. Boakai target is George Weah. Boakai minister's target is George. Everything this country, the Grush is directed at George Weah. You saw how they started with the assets recovery. It was not that they actually blundered in how they went out. No, forget about that. It was the start. The main person that they have always targeted and they stay targeting based on grudge, based on hate, based on vexation is George Mane Weah. They have come out not by themselves, but God's exposure. God used one of them to confirm what we have always knew from the beginning, we've talked about, and others know about it. Their target is George Weah. Boakai wants to see hang off on George Weah's hands, going to jail. And his ministers will stand and clap. You may, those of you Unity Party people following, you may think, oh, what am I saying earlier? This is the reality because we see that you give us the understanding of that every minister that goes to have a or do a public address, what he or she ought to do would not, but will bring Weah as the focal person. Using Weah as the cover up for their ineptitude, their inability to deliver by we inherited this, the former government did not do this, we inherited that one, we inherited a bad economy, as if they should be giving excuse or excuses. I want you to listen to one of the guys who has vented out his grudge, and the same grudge that Joseph Yeoman Boakai and his ministers have against George Weah, as if George Weah is the only person that God created, the only person that lived in Liberia before the coming of these people, the only person that became president, and Liberia was heaven, and George Weah damaged Liberia's heaven, that they will hold the grudge against him. Listen to Emmanuel Gongwe. You'll sense the man's vexation. You'll sense Boakai anger in it. You will sense why the man at the Senate, the House of Representatives, called P. McJury, he insisted, look, this whole thing about the assets recovery, they're just one name, George Weah. Boakai wants to see handcuff on Weah hand. Boakai wants to see everything Weah own taken away. Boakai just everything, think about it. And that's what he has spread to his people. That is why today they don't even want to see the ground that Weah walks on. They don't even want to see, they just want to hear that they don't want to see Weah outside. President Boakai can't wait. He and his ministers. I am saying it the way I say it because of what we hear them say every day. If you have 500 ministers, and every time they face the public, they will put their entire discussion on one person. They're not making the progress because we are damaged the country. They're not doing this. The government can't do this because we are damaged this. Everybody goes to talk about one person as if we have messed this country up. Then Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. These people who are in this very government, they know exactly how they helped Ellen to damage this country, and we are inherited a damning economy and struggle with it. Why struggling? insult was added to injury with the coming of COVID-19. In the midst of it all, we did show leadership. They will not talk about how Ellen messed things up in this country because they were in Ellen government. PR was in Ellen government. Nito Lai that sits at Maritime was in Ellen government. Mo Ali was in Ellen government, and we can go on to name all the majority of the guys in Bouaka government, down to the one he's still appointing. They were in that government, except for Alexander Nuta, who heads agriculture. I think a few other persons. The lady who is presiding over the intellectual property bureau or center, whichever way it is called, and who else? I think few people. The guy who is at Post and Telecom, yeah, everybody. They saw, they knew how Ellen messed things up. They knew how Bouaka was ineffective. They knew some of the things. They knew before Ellen, how the country was, how corruption was widespread, how people took the country money, they did all kinds of things. Bouaka and Ellen came to power. Bouaka never talked about auditing or setting up. Ellen, we need to set up this, we need to do that. At least we came, he did that. But Ellen did not do it. When the government she inherited the state from, she did not. So here we are. Emmanuel Gwonkwe comes to expose Bouaka, expose all of the people that the whole thing about George Weah, the whole thing called assets recovery, that one person they targeting George Weah, no other person they targeting besides George Weah. If you hear any other name is to give you the impression that they are going after more people, that is a lie. Only one person they're after is George Mane Weah, because of the hate, the grudge they have for him, as if Weah is Liberia's problem. He stopped Liberia from being a heaven country. Have a listen to Emmanuel Gwonkwe. Not only listen, but please listen carefully. You will sense the grudge, you will sense the hate, you will sense why PMAC jury insisted that the assets recovery team should go and give report. You will sense the ministers, the other ministers in his voice. Listen to him.
The Weah administration did so much harm to the country. Did
you hear the first line? The Weah administration did so much harm to this country. So much harm means that the country, the person damaged it to the extent that you don't even have any space to do anything. So Bouaka should not be doing anything. So much harm means by the time you come, you say, no, I can't make it. Because it is beyond. So much harm is an expression for beyond repair.
Administration did so much harm to the country. There's no reason why up to now people like George Weah are not being investigated. There's no reason why. George Weah should have been investigated. George Weah should be appearing before the asset recovery team. Samuel Wolokot and the rest of other people should be before the asset recovery team. There are a lot of people in the CDC that should have been appearing before the asset recovery team. There is no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year and nobody can recovery team. There is no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium as a recovery team. There is no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year. There is no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year and nobody cares to investigate that. There's no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year and nobody cares to investigate that. When we took over, there were friends from LSCC who came in and they were prepared to give us information. There were friends from the GSC who came in and they were prepared to give us information. There were Liberians coming in and showing up pictures and videos. Liberians were willing. In fact, I was having regular meetings with Liberians, ordinary Liberians, who were willing to give us information on the fight against corruption and those properties that people acquired. In one of those main things, there was a guy, because the investigation is going on, so I will keep his privacy. He works at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs under the Weah administration. That guy was so brave. He went to the computer expert changed his facing on his passport. He's a black guy, but made himself bright because he was escaping with his family to go to Canada. That guy, we needed to stop him immediately. The information was available. Computer expert that did the work came to me. When you take that information to the police in the asset recovery, nobody want to act. We were so slow. All the houses jobs we are built and all the wanted a forceful thing. George less about Georgia's status with forceful thing. I wanted a team where we would care less about Georgia's status. 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 Forceful thing. I wanted a team where we would care less about Georgia's status. With forceful thing. I wanted a team where we would care less about Georgia's status. With forceful thing. I wanted a team where we would care less about Georgia's status. We care less about minister status. Takes so much harm to the country. This administration takes so much harm to the country. There's no reason why up to now people like George Weah are not being investigated. There's no reason why. There's no reason why up to now people like George Weah are not being investigated. There's no reason why up to now people like George Weah are not being investigated. There's much harm to the country. There's no reason why up to now people like George Weah are not being investigated. There's no reason why. George Weah should have been investigated. George Weah should be appearing before the asset recovery team. Somehow we look at the rest of all people should be before the asset recovery team. There is no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year. The recovery team. There is no justification all the condominium in a single year for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year. There is no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year, and nobody cares to investigate that. When we took over, there were friends from LCC who came in and they were prepared to give us information. There were friends from the GSC who came in and they were prepared to give us information. There were Liberians coming in. The Weah administration takes so much harm to the country. There's no reason why up to now people like George Weah are not being investigated. There's no reason why. George Weah should have been investigated. George Weah should be appearing before the asset recovery team. Somehow we look at in the rest. There is no justification for George Weah to build all the condominium in a single year, and nobody cares to investigate that.
That is President Joseph Boakai, relative, kinsman, lofa man, who is the director of training at the National Port Authority, whose party endorsed Joseph Yema Boakai in the second round of the presidential runoff election called Economic Freedom Fighters, that is supported by South African politician Julius Malema. So that is there. But listen, they can live with the hurt. They can live with the vexation or anger or sentiment. They will have to do the needful. If you think that somebody build whatever, whichever way you have described it, and it is the state money, you don't have to be screaming and shouting and yelling all over the place. There are laws. That's why you constituted the access recovery, and it goes through a process, a chain. Then you'll find out. So, because he was the president, so he should not have built or put a single stake in the ground. Here is President Joseph Yema Boakai. He comes to the presidency. He uses state resources to extend his house. Will you say he was? There are too many things within there that the very president and his people can give account for. They are hidden. The information they say when you haul rope, haul butch. I just thought to share it with you because when we say it, we've been saying it over and over. Some of you doubted it. Everything about this government towards George Weah is politically motivated. It is because they focus their entire time, energy, resources on George Weah that they are not accomplishing what they ought to accomplish. They have created destruction for themselves. They are messing up by the day. Things aren't improving. The economy is bad off. The economy hangs on one person, the only economic person they have in their government, Augustin Gafwan, and he's struggling. The only thing you can hear and get from Gafwan, moving from ministry to ministry, agency to agency, called deep dive, because he's good at coming up with descriptions or words. He is a poet, so he knows how to con words. Nothing is absolutely happening. They're giving the impression that they are doing something, but they are busy beetle. Your go, if you think George Weah use state resources, you go there, you present all of the facts. That is how and why this country has never ever developed, because of the grudge. When you put a stake in the ground, they say that state money because you were XYZ. How did Barker build his house? Barker did not build a house on any private venture. And other things were not go that route. But you go and do the needful. It's not to run. You just come out and say, oh, they may use state resources. In 1 year, they may build all the houses. It is not the loud muffin. It is the evidence that you bring to convince the whole world that this man took state resources and built XYZ. The head of the assets recovery, who is Edwin Clark-Martin, is a shower. Is a shower. I know that. He doesn't accomplish anything. He's just good at making public addresses. He will come and talk, sound so strong, so forceful. And if you're not really mentally strong, to analyze, you will give in. We are put him over there to do the same thing. Nothing. He good at just making loud sound. On top of that, the very government that says that we are damaged the country, we are took the country money to build houses. So you constitute assets recovery now. The man say they get evidence of people who took government lands, people who build houses, took state money, but they can't go further because the very government not giving them the money to support core budget. But you say the man stole now, so you want to fast track. You want to speed up everything. But you're not funding the very assets recovery, but you're giving loose money to loose situations all over the place. But you can fund the very assets recovery thing. Your goal, the thing is as simple. It's not something to be shouting, screaming, running from one end to another. Go to Hatay Center, George Weah built. Look, all those condominiums that he built. Yeah, George Weah should be investigated. Those things are loose talk. That more talk, they say in Liberia, Hatay talk, intellectual center talk. Emmanuel Gongwa was on the assets recovery team. You can see now why they jump in the street. They started seizing people's cars from one end to another. You can see they jump into the street with this grudge. The first time when Boaga gave them or constituted the assets recovery team, and you saw how they got in the street, they took the police and the court responsibilities onto themselves. They were there in the middle of the road, obstructing, arresting, impounding vehicles Once that vehicle was attached to a CDC person or a CDC person was in that vehicle, it was taken away. I'm not saying that y'all shouldn't do your investigation. That's what it is. But when you years, it will stay happening. You're getting in the street, you're going around telling people, oh, the man this day, the man did that, the man did that, the man had this, the man had that, the man should be in jail by now. Emmanuel Gongwe, you look at George Weah, that you saying George Weah should be facing investigation and George Weah should be in jail? That today, because Boaga gave you position, the man that you say the man stole the country money, he stole the country money to save your boss man, that today your boss man is alive. That the country, the money he stole, let's take it that way. He stole your boss man life. Had he not done it, you think you will be around talking this thing that you're talking? Weah is not shielding himself against anything. Investigation. It is unto y'all. Weah is open. Everything, he's ready. You need not go political, screaming, shouting, creating publicity stunt. That's not how they do access recovery. We're too childish and irresponsible in our country with everything we do. We impute politics into it. Go in other countries and see how they go about with the assets recovery or recovering assets. For government, go see how they do it in a more responsive manner. We too petty, have you say that. You defeat the very assets recovery. So everybody knows now. You defeat the very assets recovery. And they say when you hold roll bush, there are people, there are unity party members in this government. They know what they went through. They know what they have. And you ain't get time, you will not go to them, but we will make sure you go to them because we get our lay 1 or 2 info. So Emmanuel Gongwe, you got it wrong, Chief. You got it wrong. You have to take time. Weah is not shielding himself from anything. Weah is transparent. When you're ready, Weah will convince you. You will come back to the public and say what we've been saying about Weah was not true. Edwin Martin said he has trace. All you have to do, bring everything out in the fullness of time. You don't have to just be reporting. You go, you call a news conference. You say, oh, we have this. We are in touch with Britain and France. We've got intel that officials of government stole or have stolen wealth. Assets recovery director, don't talk political talk. No, the work is technical. The work is scientific. The work is very, very, very crucial. Very seldom you hear asset recovery person or hear talking, as we see around the world. And once that person talks, it talks purpose, meaning they have made a breakthrough. Unlike Liberia, that the assets recovery boss will bring Boakai into it, expose Boakai that they want to see Weah going to jail, that everything Grush is against Weah. That's not how you go about doing it. You're at Raya in Nigeria. You saw how the people did it. The people were not political. They did not impute politics into it. They were not running from one end to another. They in 1 year, you bail this kind of money. Then the assets recovery team there, no, even the unborn child What's up, boy? I got grudge for somebody. How will you say you're listening to this Megan? Since you sense the grudge, you sense the hate, you sense the evil in the man. And this is what resonates or runs through all Boaga officials.
The weird administration.
Every now and then it's off. All kinds of